Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Once again, we have our family podcast, Big Sam and Nephews. My nephews are down in Atlanta. I'm in Minneapolis. How y'all do? How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good, Unc.
And we got a guest today.
What?
Yeah.
Who?
I'm gonna see if you can guess who it is. Well, you know who it is, right?
I know who it is. I know who it is.
David Meilke, what's going on, man?
Hey, buddy, can you hear me?
Yes,
Yep.
sir. I got you.
All right.
How you doing, man?
I'm doing great. I've been excited ever since you told me or asked me on. So thanks for having me.
Hey, it's a pleasure to have you on.
Hey,
And we go
nice
back
is it
about,
down
how
in
many years you
Atlanta?
go back? About 20-something years, probably longer?
1994.
Wow.
1994.
That's a long time.
back when we thought we were Vincent and Jules from Pulp Fiction.
You know what?
You know.
Man, I was in church today, right? When you had texted me, and I was thinking, I said, man, we weren't like Pulp Fiction, like Vincent and Jules, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Vincent
So
and
we had,
Jules, man.
God,
We rode.
we had some escapades.
Luckily, our lives ended up a little better than that.
Yeah, for sure, and we didn't get any trouble either. Thank God for that. But
at least no trouble we could talk about here.
Well, no, but but yeah, man, it's been a long time. So now, what are you doing these days?
I own my own construction company, small, just a couple of guys and myself.
Mm-hmm.
Doing general contracting, mostly in and around Edina, Minnesota, and watching my son play hockey. And yes, I know you almost had a heart attack. My son plays hockey.
I know, because you're a baseball and hooper, man. Like, how'd you get a son to play soccer? I mean, hockey.
Well, you remember his uncle Chris Garvin, so Chris got a hold of him at an early age, and Soup got a hold of him at a young age, and he's been a hockey, and now he's playing football. He's at Benilde, so he's a ninth grader at Benilde, and he'll be playing football next fall.
Nice.
And he's still playing hockey for Edina, but hopefully next year he'll be able to make the JV team over there at Benilde.
And how old is he now?
He is 15.
And you have a daughter, correct?
15. I do. 17. She's Alexandra. Yes, don't get me started. She is 17 going on 25. And
does she have a boyfriend?
She goes to Edina. No, they're too afraid of her. They're like Sable, man. Sable used to scare the hell out of those boys. And so Alexandra is much the same. She doesn't put up with anything. And so I think they're a little intimidated by her. So
wow,
could be worse.
It might be the T-shirt that reads, yes, I have a beautiful daughter, but I also have a gun, a shovel, a rope, and an alibi. So
all in that order too.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I remember. I was thinking about so many. I remember the escapade. Remember the time we were in Atlanta.
Uh-oh.
And this is you're like this story.
I know
we were in Atlanta.
I know what he's going to bring up.
And so we were, and so we got very, very wasted, right? And remember, we met John. Was it John Alamos, the guy from Miami Vice? You remember him?
Yes.
In the cigar, we were in the cigar shop, right?
In the cigar room.
And then we left. And then we had a great idea: get the car. So we were to get the car. And then this guy, and we're going right up to Peachtree Street, right? And the guy is in the street just yelling at us. It's like, why are you yelling at us, man? So then we get closer, and of course, the guy had to drop the N-bomb. I'm like, oh my gosh. So then we left the car. I let the car park. We jumped out, and I just wanted to scare the guy a little bit, right? So the guy got to this van, right? And so he was in the van I'm sorry. It's like, no. So then, next thing I know, I turn around and haul off, and Dave gave the guy right in the mouth. Gave the guy a bloody mouth.
Should be some Dave.
he was calling my friend some names and I didn't like it, so he needed to be taught a lesson. So, you know.
Yeah, I remember that.
I was a
remember
little
that
worried
so,
he was going to pull a gun out of that van, but you know he never
well,
did.
him and his buddy, they were so drunk. They were just being obnoxious. They were here for a convention.
I
They were
think when
there.
they saw how big we were,
Right.
they immediately, because I don't know if your nephews remember, but I mean the two of us are 6'3", 6'4", and are about 290 at the time, and you know they weren't they were going to need help.
Right, because his buddies were in the van, and then the guy jumps in the front seat, and the guy was like a little pencil-neck skinny little guy, and he just kept apologizing. I said, next thing I know, I turned around, you just wham. When I saw that blood, I said, we gotta go.
Yep, we got to go.
And then we
before
took
the cops
off.
get here. It was Buckhead, dude. We had to go. It was
And so we leave, and
all
we're
over
going
the
down. And remember, we got on the freeway, right? And I'm like, oh my God, what did we just do?
I was
we headed to the airport. We headed to the airport.
Got on a plane and got the hell out of there.
Yeah, I was like, oh my God, man. You know, and
I felt a
Buckhead
little
too.
like Ray Lewis, you know, on the run back in the day.
Hey, it was around that time
but
too. It was around that time.
It was. It was like maybe a year or two later. So yeah, it was.
Yeah, and then I remember
those were days.
We had so many escapades. And remember we were trying to do the give the hoops away. You remember Chris Wright said, get rid of those hoops, right? I said, okay. So we stacked them. We stacked all the hoops, you and I, and some interns, stacked them into an 8, you know.
Drove them to Nebraska.
Right.
Where we at like
a preseason game.
Creighton. We were at Creighton.
Right.
Creighton,
right.
At Creighton University. And we had these hoops that we bought. They're like 2,000 pounds a piece. They were heavy as hell.
So heavy.
And then afterwards, he's like, I don't care what you do, just get rid of them. So Sam Mitchell said, I'll buy them for my camp. And so he said, you guys got to drive it down. He gave us a wad of cash and told us to drive the U-Haul down to Atlanta. So we did. We made it there in one day too. That was
we did. Yeah,
from Nebraska. That was crazy.
Yeah, that was kind of
going through some other parts that were a little scary. Kentucky.
You don't remember we went through Tennessee,
Alabama.
And I didn't realize that Tennessee was so hilly, so many hills, and in Tennessee, I was like, whoa. So I was like, and then we got to Atlanta, and then remember we were in the hotel. We're in the hotel. And we're just you and I just sitting there just looking like two dorks, right? And so and then we started watching. The players came in, and of course, then remember these two women, these two gorgeous black women. Oh my God, they were. And one pulled up. You remember the side of the hotel, because they had the valet parking in the sort of like the back of the hotel, not really the back, but the side of the hotel, but and this one gal came in a Mercedes. She parked a Mercedes, and then she was walking in. And then the other girl came in from the front, right? She comes in.
I remember.
Right. And so, you know, we just like, look.
Didn't they ask, where's Dean Garrett? Does anybody know?
No, it wasn't Dean.
Garrett?
It was Malik. It was Malik Sealy.
Are you sure? I thought it was
Yeah,
Dean
it was. Because remember I said, you know what? Call home at 11, just joking around. Yeah, it was Malik Sealy. Yeah, because we ended up going. We actually went to dinner with Wally Zerbiak, and then Ed Prohowski, and a couple more coaches.
Was it Wally's dad? Wally's dad was down there that time too. Wally's dad was there. Went to lunch with dinner with. Yeah, no. There's you know that story you bring up Malik. I remember the day he died. Man, we were all invited to that Kevin Garnett birthday party, and we you know your nephews might not know this, but Malik he liked to play pranks on people, and he would like come into our office and spray fart spray and stuff like that, and you remember the day he died, he came into and he wanted to take us to lunch because he was bored, and he was one of those types that he had to be doing something or Malik was just full of mischief. And so he came into our office and you and I were getting like inventory for camps ready for all the summer camps.
Right.
And Malik like put that rubber piece of dog poop on your desk and then ran through our whole office spraying that fart spray. And you and I came in from the meeting, and he was hiding in that hallway that went to the production area where Sizzle was.
Right.
And you were like, oh my God, what? Damn. and you could hear him snickering like halfway down the hallway. You immediately looked at me like, it's Malik. And you were like calling out, Malik, get here, man. What you doing? And he came out. He was laughing, and he wanted to take us to lunch. And a lot of people don't know this about this guy. We couldn't go. It was like the one time we ever turned down a free lunch from those boys. And we were like, we really got to get this done. But man, we'll take a rain check. And he goes, all right. He goes, but, make sure you guys. And then he said, I remember because he was crouching behind the boxes, and we had all those old Pepsi giveaway jerseys.
Right.
And he goes, hey man, I'm bored. I think I'm going to go over to that Mary's Hope place and play some foosball and say hi to some of the kids. He goes, mind if I take some of these jerseys? And we're like, no, man, take a box. And he did. And you and I didn't really know until so he went over there, and he spent hours over there playing pool and whatever else and handing out jerseys to those kids and doing what you and I were paid to do, things like that. But he was just, just a star, who you and I both know most of those guys wouldn't do that. And that night he went to KG's birthday party. We all were there because it was in that warehouse party, it was that warehouse party. He invited all of us, and we were there for a while. And then Trish and I left and went to this other couple's place. And on the way home, I don't know if you'll remember this, but I'm going down 100, 2:15 in the morning. And there was, where he died, it was reduced down to one lane, which is part of the reason he died, because it made him veer towards that exit ramp. And that's where the dude came down off, like 10 minutes after I passed by. The car comes down the wrong way on the exit ramp on 100. No lights on, drunk guy, about 3.8 alcohol content, and hit him. And they said that Malik never knew what hit him. He died instantly and broke his neck. But we got the call, and you and I had to like get everybody up. Like I'll never forget. We went downtown and we had to sit in a conference room, and everybody was just trying to think, was this real? And the state trooper people were there, and Minneapolis police, and we had to, I can't remember who from the family went or from the organization went with the troopers to his house.
Sam Mitchell went with them. You're
right. That's who it was. Sam went.
That was Sam Mitchell, yeah. And then Flip and Sam went. Yeah.
And so then the next day, you and I remember coming into the office and just everybody being in a fog because he was such a great guy. And the thing that bothered me the most, or that hurt the most about that, is to have that woman call you and say, hey, we just wanted to give our condolences and tell you, Malik came by here last week and had, you never know when it's going to be your time. And to know that he spent his last day making a bright day for some, really needy kids and people. It's the kind of things that you hope to do in the business that we were in for a long time. You hope to create some fans and lifelong fans and whatnot. That's what you're trying to do. But that was kind of the epitome. But man, I mean, Malik was such a wonderful dude.
He was, man. Just good people, man. Most of those guys were good. Some of the guys were not good people, but we don't want to talk about them. We want to talk about the good people. But I remember.
We're not bringing up Laettner then? Is that what you're saying?
Oh, Chris.
Oh,
We ain't bringing up Laettner.
no, man.
'Cause
Tell
I
the story.
got stories about him.
Do one Christian Laettner story really quick.
I know the story, but
Okay,
tell the
so-
story one time.
So this was just before Sam came on in my department, and he was already volunteering, and I was in the middle of getting rid of this gal named Pat Hampel, who was just a conniving, crazy woman that they never told me was also trying to go for my job as manager of community relations. And she stayed on, and all she did for half a year was try to, sabotage me. And Sam was on as a volunteer at the time. And then when I finally, got the go ahead to give her the axe, we brought Sam in. But my first week on the job with the Wolves, I'm a 24-year-old kid. I'm, one of the youngest department head guys in the NBA, and, all excited. And I know I've got a guy like Sam, who's going to help me, do some great things, and just really geeked. And you're full of all that youthful exuberance, you know what I'm saying? when you're that age, and I come in and you know me, I'm going to change the world. These boys are going to listen to me, and I'm going to get them to do things that nobody else has ever done. And all the people in the office are just like, yeah, well, just, try to temper your expectations, because these boys don't do nothing. And this was back when we had, Gerald Glass and Pooh Richardson and
Right.
And Scott, you name it. We'd just gotten Ryder, and we were. So, anyways, Laettner's there, and I my very first phone call, my first day on the job, is from St. Joseph's Home for Children, and they're like, "We've got 15 at-risk children that could really use a boost. Could you get a player to come for 10, 15 minutes just to hang out with them? No big deal. Sign a couple autographs, hang out with them, whatever." And so, for whatever reason, I got him in a good mood after practice when I was there to introduce myself. And these guys probably saw a million guys like me and just kind of rolled their eyes. But I said, "Hey, I'm, Dave Meilke. I'm the new, manager of community relations, and looking forward to working with you and doing some good things, blah, blah, blah." And I said, "I've got my very first thing. I've got this appearance at St. Joseph's Home for Children. It's an orphanage in South Minneapolis, and I'm wondering if I could just get somebody to go with me, spend 10 minutes with these kids. I'll get you a car. I'll buy your lunch, put it in the car with you after practice. We'll go there, back, and you'll be done." And back then, as you remember, Sam, they all had to do a certain number of appearances.
Right.
Like it was in their contract. And so he apparently liked my shtick, so he said, "Yeah, I'll go." And I was like, "Yeah, I got Christian Laettner," not knowing what I was dealing with. And so like everybody who gave me advice said, "Make sure you go and remind him every day, because he will forget, and he'll figure out some way to get out of it or whatever." So every day I said, "What do you want? What's your favorite sandwich downtown here? I'll get it for you." He said he wanted that chicken cordon bleu sandwich at Champs. And he said, I said, "I'd get you a car. What's your favorite soda? I'll get it all ready for you. All you got to do is get in the car. We'll take you there, take you back, and you'll be good to go." He's like, "Okay." I reminded him every day, and no issues. Come Friday, 5 days of reminding him, and I get there in the locker room after their practice, and he's got sweats on, and I said, "Hey, I got a car waiting for you. Your favorite sandwich is literally just been delivered to the car. You're all set. You're ready to go?" And he goes, "Yeah, I thought it was one of those unpaid mandatory appearances. I'm not going to go. I just want you just go ahead and find me, and I'm not going to go." And I went, "What? You're not going to go?" And he said, "I'm not going to go. I don't feel like it." I go, this kids that are orphans. You know what that means? You went to Duke, right? I mean, that kids with no parents. It's just 10 minutes of your time, dude. Come on." And he's like, he grabbed me by my neck and pushed me into Michael Williams' locker and said, "Dude, I'm not going." And I got up and grabbed his arm and tried to pull it off of me, and then couldn't. So I grabbed him and shoved him backwards into Sam Mitchell's locker. And at that point, it was on. The two of us hit the floor and we're rolling around, and I'm just screaming. I go, "This is why nobody likes you. You know, you're a douchebag, and you know, nobody like you, and you know, it's because you're an asshole." And
he was.
You have no idea. Oh, he was. And all of a sudden, the realization that I'm rolling on the floor, you know, fighting with Christian Laettner comes to my mind, and I'm like, "Oh shit! I've only been here a week. I'm wrestling with one of the Dream Teamers. I'm going to get fired." And I get pulled off, and he's like, "Man, fuck you. I'm not going." And I'm like, "Fine, dude." I go, "You're just a loser. I'm never going to ask you, you know, for anything again." And I'm walking out, and Sam Mitchell grabs me, and Sam Mitchell's laughing his ass off in the hallway. And I'm like, "Man, this isn't funny, dude. I'm going to lose my job." And he goes, "Man, you ain't losing your job." I said, "Are you serious? I just took Christian Laettner to the floor after he grabbed me by the neck, and I'm gonna get fired. It's over for me." And he goes, I'll go talk to the boss." Who was the GM at the time? It was the one that architect of the old Bad Boys. What was his name again?
Yeah. Jack McCluskey.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, it was Jack McCluskey.
He comes flying into my office. Anyways, Sam goes, "I'll go tell them." Yep. He goes, "I'll go tell them. Just wait in your office." And he goes, "And I'll go do the appearance. So just keep the car down there." And I went, "For real?" And he goes, "Yeah." I go, "Dude, that's cool." He goes, "No, man." He goes, "Don't worry about it." He goes, "Just look at it this way. You have any idea how much street cred you earned today?" And he was right, because we were the most successful community relations program that had been in there up to that point.
Right.
For the 8 seasons you and I were there, because those guys, there had to be a trust with those guys, as there is with any professional athlete.
Right.
You know, and they knew they had that because you and I acted as their bodyguards half the time, you know.
Right, because that's really what it was. Because they would sometimes they would say, "Hey, you know, I'm going to give you $500," and I'm thinking, I got to go to work the next day, right?
Yeah.
Well, for what? "Oh man, just babysitters, right?" So I'm like, "Okay, dude." So we go. Somebody had a party at that little club down the street on, you know, down on First Avenue, I think it was. And anyway, they were all in there, and so I never forget Anthony Peeler.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh man, you talk about a drinker. He was a drinker.
He could put him down.
So anyway,
he put him down. He liked to party.
Me and Bobby Jackson were just sitting there, just holding a drink, talking. And so anyway, long story short, I took his card. I took his credit card. I put it in my, you know, my vest pocket, right? So anyway, he's talking to the waitress and stuff. So she points over at me, and so he comes over to me and puts his arm around me, and he's going, starts talking crazy. He's like, "Man, give me my card back." I said, "Nope." I said, "Nope, you're done. You're done. You're done." So anyway, I gave him his card back. I said, "Why are you buying drinks? You already got drinks." And all these girls that were in there were just a bunch of groupies, just sucking up drinks and stuff like that. So anyway, long story short. So anyway, I said, you know, screw this. So I asked one of his boys, I said, "Hey, what'd you guys drive today?" He said, "Oh man, we drove in a Mercedes." So I was like, okay. So anyway, I went to the Mater D, was back in there. It was in the club back there. So anyway, I gave the guy $20 and go bring the California license plate, go bring the Mercedes Benz around front. So anyway, fast forward, they're all getting in their cars going. So I said, no, you can't drive. He said, "Why?" I said, "Dude, you know how drunk you are?"
No.
So anyway, I said, "You can just sit in the back seat and let one of your boys drive. How about that? Because if your boy gets locked up, you can get him out. But if it's the other way around, no." He said, "Oh yeah, good thinking." I was like, "Yeah, whatever." But anyway, you know, and then you know the thing. Remember that time you sent me all the way up to Waverly, Minnesota? You remember?
No, down to Waverly, Iowa. It was down in Iowa.
No. It was no. It was up north, 4 hours up north. It was on the border of North Dakota and Minnesota. You sent me up there to do a clinic one time. Remember I had the Hummer?
It was Wahpeton. Wapaton, North Dakota. It's where that big JUCO that they used to produce some players. I think it's the JUCO that Tim Williams went to. It was North Dakota State School of Science or something like that, which, none of those boys were scientists.
Right. Yeah, so anyway, and I used all of the 4 hours getting there too, right?
Yeah, you did.
I'm like getting there. I had to be there at like 9 o'clock, so you know what time I left, like 3 in the morning. Snow. I was like, man.
Did you take the Hummer? Didn't you take
I took the Hummer. I took the Hummer.
Yeah.
So I finally got there like about 10 minutes to 9. I said, oh man. So I changed clothes and everything. And so it's all farmers, all white folks in there, right? And so I rolled up in there. So they're all, and so I went there and I introduced myself to them, and they're still looking just, really bland. It's like, what do you want? So then there was a little kid in the front row, and they were clicking. So I said, well, he came out and I started talking to him. So I started spinning the ball on my finger, right? So I put the ball on the kid's finger, so he spun it, and it was like, I wasn't here for that. But they couldn't, man. I had to beat people away. They said, what's KG like? I said, oh, he's a nice guy, knowing that.
You remember what I used to call you, right?
What was that?
I used to call Sam the Pied Piper because those kids would follow him anywhere. No, I mean, it was hilarious, dude. They followed him, and I'm like, little white puppies. It was just hilarious.
Hey, look. He was coming to the gym. Hey, player. What's up, player? Come on, player. I'm like, man, what are you doing, man?
Oh, no, kids. We were in the kid business, man, and so it's ironic because you got kids now, and I have kids, and I got a little grandson. Well, not a little, he's a big guy. So, it's just, I don't know. We just had a knack for kids. We just, two guys just,
Here. And sit here for a second and hand that wolf up. So I'm going to let him see that. You keep going what you're saying because Ryan's going to bring something up here that you might recognize. Hold on a second.
Yeah. This is going to be hilarious.
Oh my God. Yeah. No way.
Remember that?
Yeah.
So,
I think about Paco. You remember Paco?
Oh, I talked to him. I still talk to him.
Okay. Paco.
Still talk to
him.
Yeah,
he was
Paco.
a good human being, man. I love that guy.
Yes, he was. And he was the best crunch mascot that they ever had, and they screwed up and lost him. That was dumb.
Right. They did, yeah. And that's just what it was, too. It was like, oh, my gosh, man. And another time, you sent me up to, where was it?
You notice how he says, I sent him up. Like these were sentences, It's like...
Like, hey man, go put in this work right quick, and then tell me how that goes, and then when you come back.
Yeah.
Well, no, we had so many. We had camps everywhere, man. They were everywhere. So I went up north.
You were the A team. I was you were the A team. I was the JV team. Nobody want to see my white ass anywhere? Okay.
Yeah, but
they were like, man.
But I got.
Are you Wally Zerbiak?
Right.
They want to see me, dude.
But then I got up there, and this little kid says, well, you're going to be staying at my house. I said, remember you came to the hotel like the next day or something like that, and we were talking and stuff, and you said, oh, yeah. And I was like, no. But, I met this coach up there. Oh, I can't remember that guy's name. He had a house on the lake. I stayed with him the rest of the week. Had a great time. Good, wonderful time, man. That
was up at Grand Rapids.
Park Rapids. There it is, Park Rapids. Right.
And the big dude. Remember, wasn't it the big dude? That coach was a big white dude.
Nice,
scary
very
white
nice.
dude.
Good.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was good people, man. He's good people. Yep. I stayed at his house, and so I'll tell you what. To this day, I talk about that place all the time in my stories in life. Yeah. That I had the most sound sleep known to man.
Yeah.
I just heard birds chirping, just quiet right by a lake, too. And so I wake up, I shower and everything. So the wife and the two kids and him, they were all down there waiting for me to come. Now I was, oh, okay. They said, we didn't know what you eat. I said, whatever you eat, I eat.
Yeah. He's not picky.
No,
Trust me, Sam's not picky.
No.
no.
But I did that one, yeah. But then, we had there was some good players. Remember we did do the basketball camps too outside of what we did. We did Sam Mitchell's, we did Tommy Hammonds, and we did Will Avery's. Yep. And remember we went down to Atlanta, right? Will Avery's mom was cool as a bag of chips, man.
Yes, she was great.
She was cool. She was real cool.
And she could cook a steak, boy.
Right.
Those ribeyes were ridiculous.
Yeah, that was. We took a limo from the Atlanta airport all the way down.
That's a long trip. Augusta, that's a long trip
Georgia.
too.
Yeah,
that's a long trip.
It was.
Yeah, I remember sitting in there just chilling. That was fun.
Yeah, I remember when you came down. I remember that. Yeah, you was like, yeah, we got to go over to. Yeah, y'all went to. Was it Augusta, right?
Yeah, Augusta.
Yeah, I remember that. Yeah,
Will Avery had a camp. Will Avery had a camp named after him, not a camp, a park, and they drove us by there, and it was nuts.
Yeah, and then they took us by Augusta too.
Yeah.
Oh, they wouldn't let us in. They didn't let.
Right.
They didn't let anybody in that place.
No, they didn't.
They
were like, no, you can't get in there. Yeah, and then after that we did. No, before that we did Tom Hammonds too down in Crestview, Florida. Because you remember we flew into the Air Force Base.
Yeah,
and then
I don't remember what that was. I can't remember the Air Force Base, but I remember didn't his mom or his stepdad work there or something like that?
I'm not sure
didn't
about
his stepdad work there? Tommy.
Oh yeah.
Air Force Base.
And then we went to Tommy's
house. I remember when we were trying to find it. We were driving through this. I mean, there's double wides with grass about 3 feet tall and cars on blocks, and we're like, man, we're going to Tom Hammond's house. This is the wrong neighborhood, dude. And all of a sudden, at the far end of this street is this huge 12-foot wrought iron fence, and we get up to it, and the thing automatically opens, and we go through, and we kind of look at each other like, are we in the right place? Because literally, it looked like the Clampetts before the oil on the outside, and then on the inside it looked, and we come winding up his long, because he had that wrought iron fence around 40 acres. Remember that?
Right.
Can't imagine how expensive that would have cost. And he's on his front steps with a 30-06 shotgun. I kid you not. Over here, he's sitting there and pointing, and we pull up, and we're looking at each other like, what in the hell? And what you got to understand about Tommy is he was the blackest redneck I've ever met in my life.
That's a good way.
Dan knows exactly what I'm talking about. He was a good old boy, pickup truck, gun rack.
Right.
I mean, he was hilarious, and he's sitting on his front steps, looking down the sight of his gun down to a pond that was away from where we were, and all of a sudden it sounded like a howitzer went off. It was just boom, and we're Sam and I jumped, and he goes, I'll never forget this. I think I got him, and we're like, what the hell's wrong with you? And he goes, man, that beaver down there, I think he's got rabies, man. He got all white foam. He's been acting funny and getting out of the water and shaking and goofing. I'm just going, where am I, dude? And then he takes us to the backyard on this quad runner he had. And we get out there, and it's a sand pit dug into the ground. And he's got a VW Bug, and he pulls out, a Tommy gun, like the 30s gangsters used to use. He pulls out what's a Russian
howitzer?
AK-47. Pulls out the AK-47. Remember saying he turned to look and he goes, no, this ain't legal here in the United States.
Right.
I probably had the Russian one too. It's definitely not legal.
Don't tell nobody I got this. Scout's honor. And he said he let us shoot, and he gave us the AK-47. I don't remember how that thing. He goes, now it's going right up on you a little bit, Milk. And it's they're just going to want to pop on you. He goes, you got to hold it down. I'm like, all right, whatever. This is the craziest thing ever, because he was a good old boy, though. Didn't matter, white, black. Those people in that town loved him.
They loved Tom Hammonds. He was best in Florida.
Hey, we got 1 minute. We got 1 minute left.
Wow. Well, we got to have you back on, Dave.
More stories.
Oh man, anytime.
More war stories.
Just to finish my story. Just to finish this story quick on.
Okay.
So Javier, I go into my office. Jack McCloskey walks in and he slams my door so hard that the door didn't slam. It bounced off the door jamb. And he's like, "Who do you think you are, yelling at the players?" And I said, "Me, of course, me being Sam. Sam knows this. I'm a great guy, but I can snap occasionally." And I said, "That's the problem. That's the problem. Everybody thinks, I go, they're not great guys. They're assholes. And as long as we got people like that, on this team, we're never going to get anywhere in the community or in the win column." And I said, and then I told him the story about what he was missing and what a, asshole he was. And Jack just kind of paused. He looked at me.